In a small village, a shocking event unfolds when a cow unexpectedly gives birth. What begins as a miraculous moment quickly spirals into a web of intrigue and unexpected connections that binds a family together in unimaginable ways. As the community grapples with what appears to be a surreal phenomenon, a seasoned doctor finds himself at the center of the chaos, uncovering deep-seated secrets that challenge everything he believes. With each revelation, the story explores themes of love, deception, and the surprising bond between humans and animals. Join us on this heart-pounding journey as we unravel a tale that will leave you questioning the boundaries of reality and the power of compassion. Have you ever heard of a cow giving birth to a human baby? It feels evil, almost like a horror story. This is the tale of the most unsettling night of my life, one that turned my beliefs upside down. I am Dr. Adu, and what happened in that small village will haunt me forever. As usual, we had gone to a remote village for a medical camp. After seeing patients all day, my colleagues and I were extremely tired. It was a cold night and we were closing the camp when a man came running toward us. Judging by his condition, it seemed he was in an emergency. Upon seeing him, I immediately stood up and asked, "What happened, sir?" He gasped and said, "Quickly, come to my house, my partner is about to give birth." Hearing this, I was stunned because we didn't have any surgical tools at the camp. I then asked, "How old is your partner?" He replied, 36. I said, "In that case, performing surgery on her would be quite difficult for us. She may need an operation, but we don't have the equipment here." However, he didn't listen to any of this. He said, "You all need to come with me now, I don't care about anything else. Come with me or my child will die." I was very scared after hearing this, and I understood that this case was going to be complicated. What I didn't realize was that alongside the complication, it would also become a reason for our astonishment. The man trusted us and said, "Please come with me." He then started walking ahead, and we followed him with some emergency supplies. We also had a female doctor with us. At that point, we all assumed his partner was about to give birth, but when we reached his house, we saw her waiting outside for us. As soon as we arrived, she said to her husband, "Thank you for returning so quickly, Gogo is struggling." I asked the man, "Who is Gogo?" His reply left me completely shocked. "Gogo is our cow, and today she is going to give birth." I was speechless. I thought maybe they loved their cow so much that they called us to help her deliver safely. At that moment, I felt like scolding him for calling us so late for something so trivial, but I didn't. The man was as concerned for his cow as anyone would be for a cherished family member. I replied, "Your cow will be treated the same way a human would be, don't worry." Upon hearing this, he was relieved and said, "This is really important, or else my partner will be upset with me." My attention kept drifting back to his partner. It wasn't that I was looking at her inappropriately, she just seemed like a very clever woman. There was a strange, almost mischievous glint in her eyes, as if she were hiding something from all of us. She kept moving around, sometimes saying, "Give Gogo some water," and at other times, "Feed Gogo some grass." It was clear from her words that she was very concerned about the cow. Anyway, we got an injection from the nearby pharmacy and administered it to the cow. As soon as the injection was given, the cow started jumping around as if it were about to deliver right then and there. Normally, when an animal gives birth, its baby is kept on the ground. But when the time came for the cow to give birth, the man's wife immediately brought out a beautiful, soft blanket from the house. I was taken aback when I saw it, and I asked, "What is all this for?" She replied, "The calf that is born from our cow will be placed on this blanket. We won't let our cow's baby fall on the ground." I was utterly amazed by what she said, but I didn't speak. She then placed a chair in front of the cow and spread the blanket over it. We thought we wouldn't have to stay long. Once the calf was born, we would leave. But that didn't happen, because what we saw in the next few minutes was truly astonishing. The woman set the blanket on the chair in front of the cow. We assumed there was still time left for the delivery, so we went into a room inside the house to rest for a while, especially since it was getting colder as the night wore on. After only about 10 to 12 minutes, we suddenly heard a shout, "Quickly, come, the calf is being born." We rushed back, and what we saw left us speechless. There was no calf at all. Instead, there was a human baby lying next to the cow. At first, I couldn't even recognize that it was a human baby, but when we looked closely, we realized it was indeed human. We were all astonished. I was the most surprised because in my entire life, I had never seen anyone care for an animal so devotedly. I had never even kept a pet myself, but what I was witnessing with my own eyes was unbelievable. The woman immediately stepped forward and, with great joy, wrapped the baby in the blanket. She said, "Doctor, please give the baby some vaccines or injections so it doesn't get sick." I stood there staring at her in sheer disbelief, yet there wasn't the slightest hint of surprise on her face. Even though we were all shocked, she remained completely calm. It was as if she had known from the very beginning that the baby born next to the cow would be human. Meanwhile, the cow's condition began to deteriorate. It was so severe that we all became frightened. The man who had brought us here stood frozen, not understanding how all of this could be happening. He looked at me and began to cry, saying, "I'm done for. Something has happened today that never happened before. I'm ruined. My world is destroyed. I feel like a coward." His words were incoherent, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. I asked, "I understand your cow is in trouble, but why are you crying?" He was equally bewildered and couldn't even speak properly. I thought maybe he was just worried about his cow's health, but then he said, "No, I'm not worried about my cow, it's this baby. This baby won't leave me alone." The man sat down, beating his forehead. At that point, my attention fully shifted to the cow. It seemed as though someone had hurt her badly, but he insisted that wasn't the case. In fact, he said that the situation was something entirely different. "If you hear the rest of it," he said, "you'll be just as shocked, and perhaps even cry like I did." With that, he asked me to stand up. I got up, and he led me to a room where his partner and the female doctor, Dr. Kisha, were already waiting. There was a look of satisfaction on her face, as if she were completely at ease. Then he showed me something that left me speechless. It felt as though I were dreaming. I never imagined that someone could be so manipulative. I quietly stepped outside while he continued, his hands trembling as he pleaded, "Friend, please help me, otherwise, I will be finished. I'm asking for your help in my helplessness. You have to see how desperate I am. Please, don't let my partner find out about this. Tell someone about this situation and let me know what I should do. I only have a week left, and after that, I'll be completely ruined." Seeing his pleading face, I felt deep sympathy. I promised him I would help. When Dr. Kisha came out of the room, I told her everything. Hearing my story, she wasn't very surprised. She promised that she would definitely help, but I knew that she and I alone wouldn't be able to resolve this. When we reached the city, we contacted Rozoki using his mobile number. We showed pictures and videos of his cow's calf to other doctors. We even consulted with a senior doctor in our group, Dr. Adewale, who was between 40 and 50 years old. He quickly grasped any issue related to medical science. After seeing the pictures of the baby and hearing the delivery story, Dr. Adewale said, "I'm not saying you shouldn't help him, I'm just saying that this case is beyond your capacity to solve using medical science. It's extremely rare for any animal to give birth to a human child. To resolve this problem, you should consult with a respected elder from the village. Go to him, explain everything, and ask him to help Rozoki. You won't understand the true nature of his partner until you consult with someone who has deeper insight, because the essence of this problem lies beyond the realm of medicine." I realized then that I had very little time. Despite being extremely busy with various medical cases, Rozoki's pleading face kept appearing before my eyes as he said in a pitiful voice, "Friend, please save me from disaster." Remembering his words, I didn't delay any further. I went straight to see the village elder, Chief Cocker. When I explained everything, Chief Cocker was astonished and said, "I have never had anything like this in my life. People have told me about many kinds of problems, but this is the first time I've heard of a cow giving birth to a human child. However, I agree to come with you, Rozoki is our dear neighbor, and it is our duty to help him in his time of need. With Chief Koko's support, I felt much more confident. He examined an item Rozoki had given me, and his surprise grew even more. "We must go to Rozoki's village immediately," he said. The next morning, we rented a large car and set off for Rozoki's village. The village was quite far from the city, but by driving fast, we reached his house in a few hours. Upon arriving at Rozoki's house, we were shocked. A crowd of villagers had gathered there. It seemed as if something major had happened. We got out of the car, and all around us, various conversations could be heard. Almost everyone in the village had come to see the child amid swirling rumors that a cow had given birth to it. Rozoki's partner, Maggie, was happily showing the child to everyone. There was a strange joy in her eyes. Her face showed no trace of genuine maternal love, as if she were simply displaying a curiosity. Still, I couldn't understand her true nature. Chief Koko said he would speak to Rozoki privately and wouldn't reveal anything more to me. Rozoki, too, seemed very pleased to see Chief Koko, and they went into a room to talk. After a while, Rozoki emerged with a strained confidence. He loudly declared, "Stop all this nonsense and leave. When I call you again, come back, you will see something even bigger than this." Hearing his words, everyone was stunned, wondering what could be greater than what had already occurred. I kept thinking about Chief Koko's earlier advice, but he hadn't shared any further details with me. We were all asked to leave the house, so Dr. Kisha, the others, and I sat in the car and waited. One question kept swirling in my mind: when would the true nature of Maggie be revealed? As evening fell and night began to descend, Rozoki happily called us all inside. When we entered the house, the atmosphere was completely transformed. Soft lights were arranged throughout the room, creating an almost ceremonial ambience. In the center of the room, Maggie stood, surrounded by a carefully arranged display that symbolized truth and accountability. The scene was reminiscent of a formal inquiry. Not far away, Chief Koko sat on a chair, his face reflecting deep silence and solemnity. After a while, Chief Koko pointed to a pot of hot oil on a nearby table. The oil was so heated it had turned a reddish color. He then said to Maggie, "You must now confess the truth in front of everyone. Only by owning your actions can you begin to make things right." At these words, Maggie began to tremble and cry, pleading, "Please, stop this, I'll tell the whole truth." With her eyes filled with remorse, she confessed in front of everyone, "I have truly erred. I have made a grave mistake. I am Rozoki's wife. At the time of our union, I claimed to embrace the values we cherished, but deep down I never truly believed in them. I remained loyal only to my own selfish desires. I wanted to trap Rozoki in the web of my affection and force him to accept my worldview. When I discovered that I couldn't have children, I told him that if a human child were born from a cow, he would have to accept my beliefs." There was a heavy silence as everyone absorbed her words. She continued, "At first, Rozoki didn't believe me. He argued that it was impossible for a human child to be born from a cow. Then I challenged him, 'But what if I make it happen? Will you accept my beliefs?' After thinking for a while, he agreed, saying, 'All right, if it really happens, I will accept your beliefs.' Perhaps his conviction was weak at the time, or he thought such an event could never occur. That's why I was able to convince him to agree to this bet. Within a few days, our cow became pregnant. Rozoki was very excited and called a doctor. I was extremely worried because I was unsure whether my plan would succeed. When the doctor and Rozoki entered the room, there was still plenty of time before the cow was due to give birth. I somehow managed to distract them and send them out of the cowshed. The moment they left, I quickly got to work. The cow gave birth to a normal calf, which I then hid in a back room. Next, I placed a human baby, one I had acquired earlier, next to the cow. After that, I called out loudly, "Come quickly, the cow has given birth." Everyone rushed in, and my plan had succeeded. Chief Koko advised Rozoki to reflect deeply on his choices and reconsider his commitments, for his wavering conviction had led him to agree to such a reckless bet. Maggie confessed the truth with her own words, otherwise, the consequences of her deceit would have been far more severe. Dear viewers, although this story is entirely fictional, it carries important lessons for us. First, we must always hold true to our principles. Second, it is our duty to stand by our fellow community members in times of trouble. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments about what you learned from it. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more fantastic stories just like this one. Thank you for being a part of this journey.